1969, Detroit, Michigan. It was the age of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. May still be for some of you. We listened to Motown, to Creedence Clearwater Revival, to Crosby, Stills, and Nash. It was the time of Richard Nixon, Charles Manson, the Vietnam War, civil rights. Detroit, where I lived, the summer before had nearly burned to the ground with the worst race riots America had ever seen. It was an unsettled time. It was a dangerous time. It was an explosive time in America, in Detroit, in the school that I went to. It was an age of assassination and protest. I was a 16-year-old boy, and like many 16-year-old boys, I suppose, I did my share of stupid things. I was an okay schoolboy athlete, I guess, probably one of the better students in my school, which, believe me, wasn't saying much in this place. We weren't exactly a university-bound lot. And one day I'm walking down the hall, and I see coming at me a teacher, a young teacher, a guy by the name of Dave Vanderhoff, who taught one of my courses and was a coach on one of the teams that I played on. And Mr. Vanderhoff grabbed a hold of me, banged me up against the locker, probably couldn't do that today, got right in my face, and said, "Howard, this place is a powder keg, and we need leadership. And for whatever reason, you're a leader, so you need to decide, and you need to decide today what kind of leader you're going to be." I'm a 16-year-old kid. I'm not thinking about leadership. I'm thinking about other things. It was quite a moment in my life. Let me come back to that in a few minutes. I have the privilege, as you've heard, of being the chief executive of business in the community, a job that I love. I've spent most of my working life in the UK, notwithstanding this accent, in managing global businesses. So I've had the experience that many of you have had of trying to take these sort of lofty ideals and turn them into practical outcomes and solutions. We are living in interesting times, as the saying goes. We're seeing economic improvement. We were talking about this at dinner tonight, but it's patchy, and it's not happening everywhere and in every sector in all parts of this great land. And we're also experiencing some quite severe social and environmental issues that aren't going away. We are running out of natural resources, and we have a climate change time bomb. We have massive skills shortages and yet chronic unemployment with our young people. We have a rising gap between the rich and the poor, and we have a general breakdown of trust in business. Well, what all of that means is the job that you have as business leaders has gotten more complex, and what's expected of you by your wider stakeholder groups has gotten more demanding. We hope at Business in the Community we can help with that. We stand for, as you've heard, responsible business, and in our language that means not what you give away, not your philanthropic activities, as important as those things are. It's how you make your money, what goes on in the engine room of your business, and in the process, how you treat the planet, how you manage those complex global supply chains that you all have, how you create engaged, healthy, diverse, active workforces, a very challenging thing for managers to do, as we all know, but also how you engage in the communities in which you live and work around the big issues of education, employment, enterprise, culture, all things that we as business leaders have a role to play, a part to play, an exciting part to play. At our annual meeting a few months back with His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales, who is our very active president, I spoke to this morning. His butler called me at 6:10. Is it convenient, Mr. Howard? Oh, perfect, perfect. Anyway, he sends his regards. We talked about the new contract between business and society, the new kind of leadership that's required, the different kinds of reporting and integrated approach that we need to take in all of this, and how we bring our investors and our customers with us on all of this journey. And how do we do it all in this new age of transparency where social media and the digital world spreads your bad news so much faster than ever before, way ahead of any press release or anything that you might do about that. We've had Responsible Business Week where we tried to help with some important pieces of research around the journey of women in the workplace, around mental health issues in the workplace, our corporate responsibility index, and ultimately about the role and responsibility that leaders play. We hear from so many business leaders that they'd like to do more, they want to do more, they're trying to do more, but I don't know where to start. It's all so complicated. They've got all these short-term pressures they're fighting, and they're frustrated that indeed their customers don't seem to want to pay for it and their investors don't seem to ask them about it. So how can we change that whole dynamic? How can we help business leaders, the people in this room, develop those long-term as well as those short-term strategies, develop an approach that really demonstrates what you stand for as an organization and how you drive that through your reward system, how you create future leaders out there, and how you act as ambassadors and advocates for this very important cause. At the heart of being a responsible business and a responsible leader is creating value by living your values. We all have learned the hard way that cultures and organizations come from what you do, not what you say. And one last little bit of fortune cookie wisdom, I guess, I have certainly learned in my own journey that fulfillment in business and fulfillment in life comes more from focusing on what you want to be than what you want to get. And that takes me back to my friend Dave Vanderhoff, that whatever it was, however many years ago that was, 40 years ago, who challenged me, who took an interest in me, who called me out and got in my face, literally kicked me up the backside. Again, he'd get arrested for doing that today, but he certainly got my attention. And he changed my life. He's been a lifelong friend. I went to his wedding, he went to mine. He's recently retired. And I think about him all the time. I have this wonderful life. I spend time with princes and prime ministers, captains of industry, but I also spend time in prisons, in hostels, in struggling schools. And the thing that I'm reminded of time and again with so many people in their journey through life is the difference between success and failure can be cruelly random. Where you happen to be born and what time you happen to be born, the parents you had, or perhaps a teacher or a coach or a mentor or a Dave Vanderhoff that was there for you, or some of you in this room, the difference that you can make. So well done for all of you for being in these awards tonight. This is an important part of the business and the community calendar. The bar is high for winning these awards. You're showing examples of excellence, and it's going to encourage other people to do this. So let me congratulate everyone who has participated in this tonight, and we'll celebrate the winners as we go forward. Thank you for being on this journey. Stay with us. It really does matter. Thank you.